In the lavish banquet hall of a Seattle hotel, Clara, 8 months pregnant, steps inside with her heart pounding wildly. It is not joy, but a horrifying secret that awaits her. Her millionaire husband, Liam, is about to publicly unveil an act of betrayal too monstrous to forgive. Can a woman rise from the ashes of her own humiliation to become the one who laughs last? Tonight, Clara's world will shatter, yet her indomitable journey will keep you utterly spellbound. The first rays of dawn settled gently on the weathered thatch roof where Clara first tasted the salty breath of the sea. Olympia's waves whispered against rugged rocks, and it was here that the little girl nurtured her simple dream. One day to become a bridge between hearts. In that humble kitchen, the scent of engine oil mingled with the soft aroma of flour from the pastries Clara baked for neighborhood children. Her world took shape through her father's diligent labor as a quietly passionate mechanic, and her mother's tender care as a preschool teacher who cherished every child's smile. As the eldest of 4 siblings, Clara felt the weighty yet loving responsibility from an early age, spooning hot rice porridge into her youngest brother's mouth, tenderly wiping away tears and replacing them with hopeful smiles on the cheeks of children nervous about their first day at school. In her eyes, love was not only a sweet calling, but also silent sacrifice. The late nights she spent reading to help her siblings with homework, ensuring that not one of them was ever left behind on their journey to grow. From childhood onward, she engraved in her heart a powerful belief. Love is patience, compassion, and a quiet strength. In stark contrast, Liam's world pulsed with glittering lights and the clinking of crystal glasses in opulent ballrooms. Born into a Bellevue mansion, a gathering place for the elite, headquarters of his family's golden-studded hotel chain stretching across the Pacific Northwest, Liam was blessed with privilege and unwavering confidence. Ever since elementary school, he had grown accustomed to faces that gazed at him with reverence, to the respectful nods of business partners whenever his father strode in alongside a billion-dollar contract. Yet in his eyes lurked a hidden emptiness, a loneliness that wealth could not fill. Then fate, or rather, the magnetic pull of kindred spirits, led them to the same space, a fundraising event for environmental preservation at the famed Pike Place Market. Amid the tantalizing aromas of street food and the gleaming display of fresh seafood, Clara worked tirelessly, pasting up posters that read, "Protect our oceans for future generations." Sweat beaded on her brow, and her gaze burned with steadfast determination, drawing in every passerby. Liam, clad in a perfectly tailored midnight blue suit, watched her from afar, not with a businessman's detached curiosity, but with the wonder of someone encountering true meaning for the first time. Their first conversation revolved around the plastic waste washing ashore, the translucent jellyfish drifting in crystal waters. Clara spoke of tranquil nights on the beach with her father, listening to the waves, of the wide-eyed wonder on preschoolers' faces when they first learned the concept of waste. Liam listened intently, his heart racing with every soft laugh she shared. A laugh that, rather than showcasing pearly teeth, carried the essence of nature straight into the soul. Her words soared like music, awakening in him an urgent desire to contribute something genuinely worthwhile. After that chance encounter, they met again at simple cafes along Elliott Bay. Their conversations stretched longer, interwoven with the hush of the waves and the shimmer of evening lights. Seattle's misty drizzle did nothing to dampen Clara's enthusiasm. On the contrary, raindrops clung to her lips as she described her dream of opening a community recycling center. For the first time, Liam did not ask, "What will it cost?" but simply gazed at her with thoughtful eyes, longing to join in. When he finally invited her on a date, no flowery words were needed, just, "Shall we do something for the ocean together?" And her heart leaped. 3 months after that serendipitous meeting, beneath the blazing sunset over Lake Union, Liam knelt on a moss-covered stone. The tiny ring in his hand glinted like a dewdrop against the fiery sky. Clara's eyes widened, her heart shattering into ecstatic pieces. Their love, born of two worlds that once seemed incompatible, found harmony in a shared commitment to protect nature and to nurture compassion. Their wedding at Chateau Saint-Michel, amid neat rows of grapevines and the glow of candlelight, became a testament to hope renewed. Clara, in her pure white gown, her eyes sparkling, reminded everyone that true love blossoms when two souls nurture and uplift each other. Liam, in his elegant black tuxedo, gazed at her with fierce devotion, vowing to shelter and protect the woman he cherished with his whole life. They embarked on their journey together, bound by a silent promise, never to allow wealth to overshadow human values, never to let fame erode their compassion, and above all, always to heed the ocean's call, a call that reminded them daily that love is an indomitable force, a thread weaving every heart into one. If Clara's deeply emotional journey has moved you, keep watching to uncover the surprising finale. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts so we can spread these inspiring stories together. On an autumn afternoon, as the maple leaves began to shift into fiery hues, Clara felt, for the first time, a chill breeze snake its way through the comforting memories of their stately Union Lake villa. The marriage she and Liam had once celebrated with candlelit laughter and heartfelt vows now revealed the faintest of fractures, like the delicate crow's feet tracing lines on his face that she had never noticed before. In those early months of their life together, Clara had still been dazzled by her husband's glamorous corporate world, lavish soirees with high-powered partners, extended business trips to Portland, and the intricate contracts he drafted for their soaring luxury hotel chain. Yet behind his immaculate suit and commanding height lay a man more volatile than she had ever imagined. Whenever a new venture hit a snag, Liam's temper flared. His voice would crackle, harsh as embers trapped inside a steel pipe. His eyes, which once lingered affectionately on her, the wife he claimed to treasure, now flicked past her in hurried glances, fragile and fleeting as a winter's breath. On tranquil nights, Clara would sit by the window, gazing at the glassy lake below. She'd fold her hands around the ivory silk scarf, her wedding gift, accompanied by a hurriedly penned note of blessing, and feel its fabric imprison her unvoiced sorrow. Liam used to leave his phone casually on the dining table, welcoming her calls without hesitation. Now, he clutched it to his chest, screen face down, as if to conceal secrets she could not reach. "I can't see you tonight, Clara." His voice would rush through the receiver in a muffled excuse. She'd receive a perfunctory apology, punctuated by another urgent meeting in Portland. Sometimes a delayed flight, sometimes a stubborn client demanding more negotiation. She believed him. And yet doubt, like a drop of water seeping beneath the nail, began to leak, slowly, persistently, into her heart. Dinner under the dim golden light unfolded in silence. Clara carefully lifted a forkful of steamed salmon, striving to appear calm, while Liam's eyes skimmed over the financial section of the newspaper at the table's edge. Each rustle of paper reminded her of their earliest days, how he once looked up with warmth, smiling as he asked about her plans to plant weeping willows along the lake's shore. That attentive gaze was gone. Their unease crescendoed on an October evening at a Tacoma charity gala, where crystal chandeliers scattered light across a sea of happy faces. Clara wore a jade green silk gown, her hair braided softly over one shoulder, her heart brimming with hope that this shared moment might soothe the tension between them. Yet amid the tender piano notes and the clinking of ruby-red wine glasses, she caught a sight that made her heart constrict. In a corner beneath opulent lights, Liam leaned in to speak with Olivia Reed, the new strategic consultant at his company. Olivia, impeccably dressed and gently made up, carried herself with the delicate poise of a butterfly fluttering in a garden breeze. She brushed her hand against Liam's arm, a gesture so natural it spoke of a long-standing bond between them. Liam returned that touch with a look so tender it sent a shiver down Clara's spine. In that moment, time seemed to stand still. The music in the distance melted away. Clara froze, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. In her mind, the question, "What is happening?" echoed over and over, alongside her ragged breaths. She forced herself to watch, Liam's gaze directed wholly toward Olivia, not as a polished gentleman acknowledging his colleague, but as a man drawn by desire and longing. Clara, who had once entrusted her faith wholeheartedly to her husband's sincerity, told herself it must be mere professional courtesy, that he was seeking solutions for a new project, and Olivia, sharp-witted, served as a key advisor. Yet the gentle rhythm of the preschool teacher she used to be quietly slipped away, replaced by the silhouette of a suspicious woman. The seeds of doubt, once planted, took root and flourished in her soul, spawning a shadowed garden of anxiety. The next morning, Clara awoke weighed down by an unnamed heaviness. She watched dawn's pale sunlight filter through the curtains, each beam a silent entreaty to confront the truth. In the kitchen, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee did little to fill the empty space. He had not come home. On the counter, her phone lay silent. Clara's hand trembled as she hovered over the screen, yet she dared not swipe. Amid the lavish lifestyle and polite applause, Clara recognized that her marriage was teetering on the brink. Every vow they had exchanged to remain by each other's side for life now felt tenuous and hollow. She, who believed love was sacrifice and compassion, now faced a bitter question. Was Liam's silence the result of work pressure, or a cover for a deeper attachment? In that stillness, she summoned the strength to remain poised, determined to await an explanation. For love, fragile as it may be, is a flame that survives only when fed by trust and open dialogue. Clara knew that if she never unearthed the truth, these tiny cracks would widen, eventually forming an unbridgeable chasm. And so, with a heart open yet resilient, she prepared to enter the long-overdue conversation, one that could tear down the facade of opulence so they might face each other, wielding honesty as the healing balm. When the first rays of dawn pierced through the slatted curtains of Swedish Hospital in Seattle, Clara sat perfectly still on the white bed, clutching the ultrasound report in her hands. Her heart raced with a brand new rhythm. She was pregnant. The joy burst forth like a wildflower unfolding among cold stones, yet mingled with a tender worry. Liam was slowly drifting away from her, creating invisible, icy distances. In that instant, Clara envisioned the future, the laughter of a small child echoing throughout their home, her husband's adoring eyes as they counted down the days to their baby's arrival. She believed their child would become the bridge to heal the fractures quietly spreading between them. Back at home, Clara set about preparing a special dinner in silence. She adorned the table with a white linen cloth embroidered with daffodils, her mother's favorite flower, and placed a pair of pale pink baby shoes at its center, symbolizing the fragile hope growing within her. Candles flickered on the walls, her smile tinted with the soft memories of their newlywed days. Step by step, she arranged each dish. A fresh, vibrant salad, ginger-infused steamed salmon releasing warm aromas, and a glass of golden orange juice. Every detail whispered a gentle invitation. Let us begin anew. Yet that night, the door opened later than usual. Liam stepped inside, his suit jacket still scented with an unfamiliar cologne. The warm glow dancing on the dining table glinted in his eyes. Just for a moment, she held her breath, expecting a joyous surprise. Instead, he glanced at his pillow, then nodded stiffly as she trembled while announcing her pregnancy. That's wonderful, Clara. His voice sounded forced, entirely devoid of its customary warmth. He managed a brief smile, apologized for being tired, and turned toward the stairs. Heavy footsteps echoed on the wooden steps, leaving her alone amid the dying candlelight. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at home grew thick with tension. Clara tried to converse, reminding Liam of their plans for the baby, choosing a name, painting the nursery, but his replies were curt, or he deflected to work matters. Whenever Clara mentioned Olivia Reed, the strategic consultant newly hired at his firm, Liam's gaze wavered ever so slightly. She began to register every nuance, the respectful tone he used when speaking of Olivia, the way he described her tense strategy meetings, the enthusiasm he adopted when recounting her innovative ideas. Within Clara's heart, earlier seeds of doubt had sprouted roots that now clung fiercely to her soul. One afternoon, the phone rang sharply. On the other end was Margaret, Liam's mother, her voice at once celebratory and awkward. "Margaret is so happy for you," she began, then unintentionally revealed, "I hear Liam's been working very closely with Ms. Reed. I hope you two understand each other well enough to support one another." Those casual words struck like a knife, embedding deep into Clara's heart. Her mother-in-law, who should have guarded her daughter-in-law's joy, had unwittingly exposed a truth she could no longer deny. Clara hung up, her pulse pounding, tears welling in her eyes. That night, Clara curled into her pillow as the clock ticked loudly in the empty room. Moonlight filtered through the window, casting soft, ethereal patterns on the walls. She wondered if the child within her could summon the power to draw them back together, whether the love they had nurtured could survive the trials of suspicion and loneliness. She recalled her first smile upon hearing the baby's heartbeat, and Liam's proposal by the glittering shores of Lake Union at sunset. Those memories glowed like embers in the dark, urging her to cling to hope. The next morning, Clara awoke with renewed resolve. She knew healing would not depend on one side alone. She had to create the space for him to return. She spent the entire morning tidying their home, placing the tiny pink shoes on the bookshelf alongside their wedding photo, taken the day they exchanged rings. Then she settled at her desk and penned a short yet heartfelt letter to Liam, acknowledging her pain, sharing her hopes, and asking him to find the time to listen. Clara's heart pounded as she slipped the letter into its envelope. She understood she could not force him to love her in the way she desired, but she could preserve her faith. Sometimes the gentlest words open the largest doors. Beneath the overcast sky outside, she vowed never to give up, for the sake of their family, for the child growing within her, and for the very love that had first brought them together. In that quiet, unfolding moment, hope, delicate as a newborn shoot, remained steadfast, awaiting the sunlight of understanding and compassion. The late afternoon sun slackened, tinting the sky with pale amber and sienna flecks. Each slender ray slipped through the leaves, painting scattered streaks of light across the car's windshield. Clara sat behind the wheel, her heart pounding so fiercely she felt it might burst from her chest. Doubt had piled up over countless weeks, every half-hearted excuse from Liam about work, every hesitant glance when she mentioned Olivia Reed. And now she could no longer dwell in speculation. She needed the truth. Her car slid through the congested streets of Bellevue during rush hour. Horns blared. Red brake lights flickered in her rearview mirror. But in Clara's mind, there was only one mission: to follow the trail of the husband she once trusted with her whole being. Her hands clenched the steering wheel so tightly that her nails carved shallow crescents into her palms, a sharp reminder that she was about to do something reckless, but necessary. When Liam turned onto the road leading to Kirkland's luxury penthouse district, Clara floored the accelerator, tailing his sleek black sedan. Towering above, the building's dark blue glass mirrored the broad sky, each floor daring her with its mystery. The gate slid open automatically, admitting Liam's car. Clara kept her distance, dialed up alert, part of her longing to retreat, yet another part drawn onward by relentless curiosity. His car descended into the underground garage, and Liam slipped quickly into the elevator. Clara steeled herself and followed. In her mind, she whispered, "Just a few moments more, and I'll have clarity." The elevator plunged floor by floor with an even mechanical hum, amplifying her tension. Every ding of the car stopping made her heart lurch. When the elevator doors parted, warm light flooded the penthouse foyer, softening the grandiose space. Cream carpets and abstract art appointments suggested refined taste and loneliness. Clara stepped into the hush, inhaling the faint, heady scent of new furnishings. From this vantage, she scanned for his silhouette. Then she saw them through the expansive windows overlooking the balcony. On the 15th floor, where dawns and dusks each seemed magnified. Slipping close to the wall, Clara felt her heart freeze as she spotted Liam and Olivia bathed in sunset glow. The dying sun over the water cast their reflections onto the glass, imprinting the shape of two figures entwined. Liam and Olivia were embracing, not a polite brush of arms, but a clasped embrace, limbs wrapped around each other in ardor. Clara watched Olivia tilt her face upwards, eyes shimmering, lips curving into a discreet smile. Liam, the same husband who once cradled her with soothing words, now rested his head against Olivia's shoulder, seeking comfort in her arms instead of hers. The ache pierced Clara's chest like 1,000 needles. Her eyes burned, yet she could not look away. With trembling fingers, she pulled her phone from her pocket, striving to capture each fluid motion. Liam brushing Olivia's hair back, Olivia rising onto her toes to press her lips to the corner of his mouth. Betrayal was no longer a specter, but a brutal reality beyond denial. Each faint camera click echoed like a scream in the hushed space. Tears blurred the screen, but she continued shooting. She needed proof. For herself, and for the person who had once been her other half. The final shot she took was of Liam turning his head. His eyes flickered with startled recognition. Too late. Her spirit wilted, and she stepped back against the cool wall, head bowed, shoulders trembling. In that gentle sunset light, her heart bled. Yet amidst the pain, Clara felt a strange surge of liberation. After endless nights of doubt and agonizing pleas for transparency, she finally held the answer. All those days of self-deception, the moments spent waiting for explanation, now crystallized in painful clarity. Silently, she backed away, her legs leaden. The sunset's glow followed her into the marble foyer, scattering over the cold stone floor. A final tear slid down her cheek. She tilted her head, gathering what remained of her strength. Clara knew she could not cry any longer. She could not postpone her sorrow. The road home always feels longer than the path out. Clara drove through streets lighting up one by one, the traffic flowing like the city's lifeblood. At every red light, she paused, staring into her rearview mirror, her face ashen, eyes ringed with fatigue. She wondered, can I forgive him? Does love still hold enough power to mend this fracture? The answer lay ahead, where she would confront Liam with an undeniable truth. When she parked before her home, Clara sat motionless. Outside, the hallway lights glowed a muted yellow, the door ajar as if awaiting her arrival. She exhaled a long breath, her hand brushing away the last of her dried tears, then opened the door. The faint aroma of teak wood greeted her, old memories rushing in. But sweetness was gone. Only the stillness remained, anticipating a reckoning. Clara stepped inside, resolve glittering in her eyes. She raised her phone, reviewed the images once more, then breathed out softly. The journey to confront the truth had begun, and whatever tomorrow brought, she would no longer run away, because only by facing the fracture head-on could she ever hope to mend it. The crystal chandeliers in the Mercer Island Mansion's grand hall blazed brilliantly, reflecting off glass goblets and teal evening gowns. Clara entered with her back straight but shoulders heavy. Her elegant blue dress hugged her growing belly, a constant reminder of the tiny life soon to arrive. Each footstep on the red carpet sounded soft and deliberate, like gentle music drifting through the opulent space. The scent of cinnamon and vanilla oils lingered in the air, mingling with the clink of fine china and murmurs of polite laughter. She had come for one reason only, to preserve the reputation of the husband who once vowed to protect her. Yet a weight pressed upon her at every sidelong glance from the guests. Across the room, Olivia Reed appeared, resplendent in a gold lame gown that accentuated every curve, her hair cascading with metallic shimmer beneath the chandelier glow. She smiled radiantly, a smile that made the ballroom sparkle all the more. Olivia stood beside Liam. Their eyes met in a charged, knowing glance. Clara saw it, and her heart clenched as if in a vice. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd. "Look at her over there. She seems special." Amid the manufactured glamour, Clara sensed contempt sneaking through the folds of her dress, no longer mere curiosity, but pity. Their eyes carried unspoken questions. Does she even realize what's unfolding? The grandfather clock chimed 9 times. 10 o'clock. The lights brightened, every gaze converged. Liam ascended the wooden platform, the moment stretching taut as a drawn bow. The refined hotel magnate, always poised and commanding, now wore a solemn air unlike any before. Olivia followed him, inclining her head in a subtle nod that hinted at a script already written. Silence engulfed the hall. The only sound was Clara's heartbeat pounding in her ears as a cold bead of sweat slid down her temple. The audience held its breath. Spotlights illuminated Liam, magnifying every detail of his figure. He sank to one knee. Clara heard the soft stretch of fabric as a chair slid back a notch. Before hundreds of eyes, Liam lifted the ring box. The diamond within gleamed like a star. Olivia's lips parted in feigned surprise. The scene around Clara dissolved into unreality. She felt rooted to the spot. Everything spun. The months of waiting for an explanation, the fragile hopes of wholeness, reduced to smoldering ash. "Olivia, you are my future. Will you marry me?" Liam's voice rang out rich and unwavering, each word like thunder cracking the sky. All eyes turned to Clara. Her limbs stiffened. The world receded until only Liam and Olivia remained, framed by astonished faces. Soft exclamations rippled. "Oh my. I can't believe it." Those words stabbed Clara's heart like sharpened pins. She heard her own breath come fast, her vision blur with shock. Clearly, this was not the script she'd agreed to by attending this event. As Olivia nodded, tentative applause began, then surged into a startled ovation. They cheered this burgeoning romance, this new beginning. But for Clara, it was the apex of humiliation. She stood motionless, as if carved from stone. Her baby's movements fluttered in time with her ragged heartbeat. No sounds broke the hush, save the wind sighing through the great windows. Clara remembered their earliest days, Liam's rapt attention, his whispered, "I love you," in her ear. Now, all vanished into nothingness. Rage welled up. Clara pushed through the crowd, her belly low, arms cradling the precious life inside as if to shield it from further betrayal. All eyes followed her, judgments and pity mingling in their gazes. She strode forward, her stilettos caught slightly on the carpet. She felt the weight of every scrutinizing look, the stilled breaths around her. Reaching Liam, his face remained composed, lips curved in the same knowing smile that once evoked sweetness. Now that curve twisted her heart. Clara raised her chin, fire blazing in her eyes. Her voice rang out, rigid with accusation. "You are my husband, the father of my child." Each word shot through the air like a rifle's report. Liam held his silence. The crowd followed suit. Olivia shifted uneasily, her expression caught between apology and promise. She took a step back, ceding the center stage of suffering to Clara. Then Clara spoke again, her tone raw yet unwavering. "How dare you? How could you be so heartless?" Her shoulders quivered, but she suppressed her tears. Her sapphire eyes glistened, but held no liquid. Fury and pain wove themselves together in her gaze. Finally, Liam spoke, his voice chilling in its detachment. It's over between us, Clara. Accept it. His eyes never met hers. Instead, he turned back to Olivia, reaffirming a decision he would not reverse. His words rang like a sentence passed. The hall remained hushed, then rustled as a few guests retrieved phones to record and photograph. These moments would spread like wildfire, etching this wound into Clara's memory. She spun on her heel and walked out of the hall. Under the dim corridor lights, her final tear fell quietly. Yet beneath that drop, Clara felt a spark of resolve ignite. She was not merely the betrayed wife. She was a mother, a woman who knew how to rise again. Her steps grew steadier, her pregnant belly a shield for an indomitable heart. Mercer Island's night ended to the echo of Clara's footsteps down the long hallway, and in the darkness, a flame of hope flickered, poised to blaze more fiercely than ever before. In the days following the upheaval, Clara felt as though she were wandering through a labyrinth of pain. Each breath seemed heavier than the last, and her heart felt bound by invisible needles. Yet the tiny heartbeat of the life growing within her continued its steady rhythm, a miraculous reminder that she could not surrender. The love she bore for her unborn child glowed like a fire in the darkness, pulling her back from the brink of despair. Early one misty morning, Clara awoke to dew clinging to the window pane. She picked up her phone and contacted the office of attorney Sophia Bennett, a sharp-minded woman renowned throughout Seattle for championing the rights of single mothers. On the small screen, Sophia appeared with resolute eyes and a warm, assured voice. "Liam's public betrayal will serve as powerful evidence in the divorce, Clara." Those words infused Clara with renewed vigor. She nodded to the phone, her heart stirring with hope and determination. That afternoon, she slipped into a cozy cafe near Seattle's Times Square, ordered a steaming latte, and began drafting her plan for the future. A list of potential jobs, application materials, and prenatal appointments. Each item a brick laid in the foundation of her rebuilt life. She resolved to seek employment in Redmond, the place that had once ached with memories of days apart from her husband. A newly opened tech firm there was hiring a project coordinator at a salary higher than her previous income. When the interview invitation landed in her inbox, Clara's heart danced within her chest. After the interview, she returned home under the slanted golden light filtering through the trees. Her phone rang with an incoming call from her sister, Lily. Lily's warm voice urged, "Let me come get you. You shouldn't be alone." Within 15 minutes, Lily arrived at her door, arms laden with homemade food that their mother had prepared. Lily's smile was a steadfast bridge, rescuing Clara from the emptiness that threatened to swallow her. That evening, the sisters gathered around the kitchen stove, aromas of braised meat, boiled greens, and pumpkin soup rising in fragrant plumes, flavors of home that eased the chill in Clara's heart. The next morning, Clara delivered her resume to the Redmond office, a sleek building of glass walls reflecting the clear blue sky, an entrance both grand and welcoming. During the interview, she spoke of her project management experience and her passion for fostering a workplace that respected women. She felt the board's genuine approval in their warm glances. 1 week later, the acceptance letter arrived, an offer robust enough to empower her independence and nurture her child's future. Amid these new strides, Clara received an unexpected call from Margaret, her mother-in-law. Margaret's voice trembled over the line. "I'm so sorry for everything. My son was terribly wrong." The crackle of tears in her words suggested Margaret's own heartbreak. She offered Clara the name of an impartial attorney, hoping to open a fair path to reconciliation. Clara hesitated, her emotions a tangle of mistrust and longing. Yet she realized that forgiveness need not signal weakness. She softly thanked Margaret and arranged a meeting. Seattle's sky turned to a gentle drizzle, water pattering on the rooftops. Clad in her raincoat and cradling her rounded stomach, Clara entered a prenatal meditation class at the Wellness Center. The room was warm, the lighting soft and golden. Her first task was simple and repetitive. Inhale. Feel her child. Exhale. Release her sorrow. When the instructor whispered, "Listen for your baby's gentle kick," Clara closed her eyes and focused. A tender nudge against her hand felt like a whisper of love from within, a moment of bliss that filled her with joyful buoyancy. After each session, Clara returned home more peaceful. She began a pregnancy journal, sketching potential names and their meanings. She giggled aloud as her baby tumbled inside her, dispelling the darker thoughts that once clouded her mind. She researched prenatal nutrition and yoga, transforming every day into a celebration of maternal devotion. Her new role in Redmond soon drew her into a fresh rhythm of virtual meetings, planning sessions, and team coordination. Though the demands were significant, Clara felt she lived for a higher calling, her child's future. Colleagues praised her dedication. One afternoon, her manager invited her to a small office gathering to celebrate her inaugural success. Clara smiled, her eyes glinting like the dawn over a placid lake. Meanwhile, Lily remained her steadfast anchor. Every weekend, Lily arrived bearing both laughter and freshly laundered clothes. They shopped together for organic groceries and blended nut milks for nutritious breakfasts. Even before her daughter's birth, Clara sang lullabies to her unborn child, feeling the maternal bond in every melody. On another weekend, Clara met Margaret at a quiet tea house overlooking Lake Union. The autumn sun splashed golden patches across the water. The two women sat in silence, listening to the breeze whisper through the trees. Margaret bowed her head, her gaze earnest. "Family remains our bond. I hope we can find common ground." Clara nodded gently, reassuring herself that even a past soaked with tears can yield to the promise of renewed hope. And so, cradled by the love of family, buoyed by her stable new career, and sustained by the vibrant life within her, Clara moved confidently forward along her chosen path. Each smile, each gentle touch upon her belly, testified to an indomitable spirit. She was not merely rebuilding her own existence. She was crafting a new sanctuary where love triumphed over pain and hope blossomed amid the rubble. The air, already stifling, grew oppressively thick in the bright conference room of the hotel corporation as Richard Whitman, patriarch of the dynasty, held the suspicious financial report in his hand. His gaze was ice cold, sharp as a needle, aimed at the two figures crouched before his authority. The high ceiling and glaring fluorescent lights reflected off the polished oak table, revealing every grain of wood in stark clarity. In a corner, Liam stood frozen. Once a proud, commanding presence, he now appeared gaunt and stooped, shoulders bowed as if under unbearable strain. Olivia, clad in a formal coat, her lips pressed into a thin line, eyes flickering between embarrassment and anger, looked trapped between her personal ambition and the family's power. The internal audit had been prompted by whispered rumors. Large-scale marketing campaigns, multi-million-dollar expenditures, baffling bookkeeping entries. Olivia, brimming with ambition, had confidently persuaded the board that lavish advertising alone would catapult the hotel chain to global renown. Slide after glittering slide had appeared on the projector, billboards on skyscrapers, launch parties in Bali, endorsements by major celebrities. But when Richard's eyes fell on the actual numbers, his brow arched. Hundreds of millions of dollars had vanished without a trace. A portion could be justified as reasonable expense, but the remainder reeked of outright embezzlement. As the audit delved deeper, each document was scrutinized, every transaction code traced back to its source. They discovered that Olivia had quietly siphoned off millions into personal accounts. Funds used to purchase $1 million yacht, amass a dazzling diamond collection, and book endless first-class trips. Meanwhile, Liam toiled away on sustainable development projects he believed would bring genuine prestige to the family name. Olivia indulged herself with reckless spending. With every new finding, Richard's righteous fury swelled until he fixed his son with a look that felt like a death sentence. "Do you understand what this means?" Liam endured an agonizing crisis. His heart roiled with conflict, torn between love for Olivia and duty to his father. He knew not which path to choose. Olivia coolly claimed it was a temporary financial strategy, only to retract when she saw her father-in-law's unwavering stare. Their argument behind closed doors echoed through the silent hall. Liam on his knees, waving the flawed statements, Olivia hissing that he was simply not capable of grasping her vision. It was only when Richard slammed the lawsuit papers on the table that Liam realized he had defended the wrong person. Rumors then spread like wildfire through the company. A hotel staffer in San Francisco, while cleaning Olivia's suite during a business trip, stumbled upon a series of messages on her tablet. Olivia conferring with a major investor, hinting that she would leave Liam if a more lucrative opportunity arose. The insinuation of finding a partner with stronger financial backing rippled through every department, prompting collective disillusionment. Employees began to wonder, did Olivia truly care for the family legacy, or only the gleaming veneer of its wealth? When Liam learned the truth, he could no longer face Olivia in public. At last, on a bleak afternoon, he summoned her to his unfurnished apartment. No grand chandelier, no luxury furnishings, just bare walls and a chill beam of light through the window. They confronted each other. Olivia fumbled for excuses as Liam silently watched the tendrils of cigar smoke curl from her ever-present cigar. Rage and disappointment coalesced within him until he erupted in a wordless shout, as though tearing down every false pretense. Olivia turned on her heel, leaving behind 2 words as cold as ice. "Goodbye, Liam." Now Liam stood alone amid the wreckage. His father, Richard, had cut off his financial access. The flow of money that had enabled a life of indulgence was gone. His bank accounts lay barren. The company books expunged his name from all privileges. He was forced to vacate the Bellevue mansion for a cramped Renton apartment, streetlights casting a muted glow, peeling paint on the walls, and the night bus rattling by with a hollow clang. The new space lacked any fireplace, offering only an old electric heater on a cold threshold. The floorboards creaked under every hesitating step. The room was tight, its lone window overlooking a neglected backyard. Liam huddled on a threadbare sofa, staring at the fogged glass. In his hand was the dusty wedding photo of himself and Clara. He stroked it as though seeking a final warmth, only to feel his fingers tremble with cold and regret. The cacophony of the unfamiliar city drifted through the pane. Honking cars, a neighbor's lawnmower, the rustling of dry leaves. Liam sank into reflection. For whom had he lost everything? Olivia, the one who once vowed eternal devotion, or his own arrogance, his belief that money could purchase all? Now he was left destitute, amid the shattered remnants of power and prestige. Tomorrow Richard would remove him from the line of succession. The company would engage lawyers to divvy the remaining assets. Liam knew there was no escape. He closed his eyes, exhaled a heavy sigh, and turned his gaze upward to the faded ceiling. The bond that once tied him to his family lay threadbare, like a rotten cord ready to snap. In that harsh, silent moment, Liam recognized that without Olivia, without his fortune, he was nothing but a stripped-down man holding the weight of his own mistakes. The cold Renton apartment stood as the final testament to the collapse of both power and a false love, and within that lonely hush, he could only stare out the window, waiting for a glimmer of light, or perhaps merely the distant ghosts of what once was. In the days following the upheaval, Clara felt as though she were wandering through a labyrinth of pain. Each breath seemed heavier than the last, and her heart felt bound by invisible needles. Yet the tiny heartbeat of the life growing within her continued its steady rhythm, a miraculous reminder that she could not surrender. The love she bore for her unborn child glowed like a fire in the darkness, pulling her back from the brink of despair. Early one misty morning, Clara awoke to dew clinging to the window pane. She picked up her phone and contacted the office of attorney Sophia Bennett, a sharp-minded woman renowned throughout Seattle for championing the rights of single mothers. On the small screen, Sophia appeared with resolute eyes and a warm, assured voice. "Liam's public betrayal will serve as powerful evidence in the divorce, Clara." Those words infused Clara with renewed vigor. She nodded to the phone, her heart stirring with hope and determination. That afternoon, she slipped into a cozy cafe near Seattle's Times Square, ordered a steaming latte, and began drafting her plan for the future. A list of potential jobs, application materials, and prenatal appointments. Each item a brick laid in the foundation of her rebuilt life. She resolved to seek employment in Redmond, the place that had once ached with memories of days apart from her husband. A newly opened tech firm there was hiring a project coordinator at a salary higher than her previous income. When the interview invitation landed in her inbox, Clara's heart danced within her chest. After the interview, she returned home under the slanted golden light filtering through the trees. Her phone rang with an incoming call from her sister Lily. Lily's warm voice urged, "Let me come get you. You shouldn't be alone." Within 15 minutes, Lily arrived at her door, arms laden with homemade food that their mother had prepared. Lily's smile was a steadfast bridge, rescuing Clara from the emptiness that threatened to swallow her. That evening, the sisters gathered around the kitchen stove, aromas of braised meat, boiled greens, and pumpkin soup rising in fragrant plumes, flavors of home that eased the chill in Clara's heart. The next morning, Clara delivered her resume to the Redmond office, a sleek building of glass walls reflecting the clear blue sky, an entrance both grand and welcoming. During the interview, she spoke of her project management experience and her passion for fostering a workplace that respected women. She felt the board's genuine approval in their warm glances. 1 week later, the acceptance letter arrived, an offer robust enough to empower her independence and nurture her child's future. Amid these new strides, Clara received an unexpected call from Margaret, her mother-in-law. Margaret's voice trembled over the line. "I'm so sorry for everything. My son was terribly wrong." The crackle of tears in her words suggested Margaret's own heartbreak. She offered Clara the name of an impartial attorney, hoping to open a fair path to reconciliation. Clara hesitated, her emotions a tangle of mistrust and longing. Yet she realized that forgiveness need not signal weakness. She softly thanked Margaret and arranged a meeting. Seattle's sky turned to a gentle drizzle, water pattering on the rooftops. Clad in her raincoat and cradling her rounded stomach, Clara entered a prenatal meditation class at the Wellness Center. The room was warm, the lighting soft and golden. Her first task was simple and repetitive. Inhale, feel her child. Exhale, release her sorrow. When the instructor whispered, "Listen for your baby's gentle kick," Clara closed her eyes and focused. A tender nudge against her hand felt like a whisper of love from within, a moment of bliss that filled her with joyful buoyancy. And then, her full, soft lips curved into a pure smile. Clara whispered to Mia, "Mommy and you will write our own beautiful story." Outside, maples swayed in the breeze, and rain's rhythmic patter played a soothing lullaby. Their new life had begun. No need for revenge, for love had triumphed over darkness. Liam, carried away by the consequences of his choices, lost everything, while Clara emerged a symbol of resilience, inspiring countless hearts yearning for hope. If Clara's journey moved you, please like, share this story, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Thank you for watching.